Black Germans. Can you talk a bit about your research process? I know you did at the beginning, but you could share that more.
Well, I started on Google. So I didn't apply for any funds from me. I started on Google, and that was the first place I saw the term rhyming bastards. And from there, as I said in my opening, I began to do little pieces of research, what I could find on Wiki and that kind of thing. And what I started to really just confounded me. It didn't sit with my assumptions of what might have happened to Black Germans during that period, knowing what was happening to the Jews at the time. So I began to contact different museums, different libraries around the world, hired a researcher to work with me, and we just began to lay out as much research as we could through some archives, private archives, contacting parts of the German government, until we kind of felt we knew enough to start to try and track down survivors. And eventually we did. We tracked down some Afro-German survivors of the period and sat down and began to conduct interviews. And the rest is history.
And in terms of coming up with this story, how did that process go for you?
Well, I think the key thing for me was this really strange place that Afro-German children resided in, which is that they were not taken away to camps en masse. They were not murdered in camps or outside camps en masse. It was on a kind of individual basis. And so many existed outside of the camp system as well as many going inside. And for those who were left on the outside, they were intrinsically connected to the German local society. Their mothers were Germans, and those mothers belonged to families, and the likelihood that those families were not involved in the Nazi regime was very tiny. So this kind of intrinsic connection that they had of trying to assimilate, not belonging, being part of local life, not a full part of local life, this kind of duality and weird space that they existed in, was really something I wanted to try and understand and find out more about, and that's really how the story came about. I needed a comparison, so I needed someone who obviously wasn't in a position of persecution, but I also was one of those people, I'll admit, who would often go to Germany and see someone, a German who was older, and ask, who were you? What did you know? When did you know it? And what did you do when you knew? And that was a question I couldn't stop myself asking over and over. It's a kind of key question in this film. What did you know? When did you know it? And when you knew, what did you do? Yeah.
Please talk a little bit about the casting and assembling this incredible group of actors.
Yeah, well, this is an incredible group of actors. I want to officially be able to say thank you to all of you for your work. Well, I first came across Amandla Stenberg, the young woman, not the actress, when she turned up in my direct messages on Twitter. She had written to me and asked me if she could interview me for a feminism class. She had seen a previous interview of Bell. I had no idea who this young woman was. Lots of young women were writing to me at the time. And about probably a year later, I then saw an incredible piece of footage on, I think it was Instagram. I mean, social media is like a real part of all of this. And she was doing a piece on cultural appropriation, and I was just like, who is this child? She's just like, I'm sure I birthed her and I didn't know. And I put it on my Facebook page. I went onto my Facebook page and said, there's this incredible girl, and she's called Amandla Stenberg, and like, if I had a child, I'm sure it would be her. And, but then that name just kept ringing a bell, and I Googled it, and then I saw Hunger Games, as it connected to her, but I hadn't seen Hunger Games. So I was like, but I know I've seen that name somewhere else. And I made the connection somehow with my DMs, and I scrolled all the way down about, I don't know, 150 messages or whatever, you know, the farthest it could hold. And I see Amandla Stenberg, and I go, well, she's an actress. And to me, she has an intellect that would be able to handle the complexity of a piece like this. And so we contacted Amandla. With George, I thought I'd more or less cast the partners. We were down to 2 young men. George was away filming in Spain, I think. And my casting director said, I have one more, and you know, I think it's really interesting. You should let him show you a self-tape, you know, send you a self-tape. I was kind of like, really? And so I left it to the last thing I did that weekend, and I watched this self-tape, and I just called my casting director immediately and said, do not contact either of those 2 young men on Monday, because we found evidence. He just blew me away on tape. And Abbie and I, we met over the script. We met a couple of times, first of all, in person. And I think the key thing for Abbie and Kirsten, the character she plays, is that we don't often see these women on screen. These white women who are having to raise black children, understanding that they themselves are not black. The children are, that they're not, and all of the complexities that brings for the child in a world that doesn't want to accept them. But at the same time, I wanted the kind of just the purity of a mother-daughter relationship. And this is a movie where, you know, the mother protects her child's fertility for half of the movie. And then the child who's turning into a woman protects her child for the other half of the movie. And so for everything that this movie is, it's a woman's story. And Abbie got that. Abbie understood it perfectly. And I think what all 3 of them have done, and Olivia Varnell, who plays Camina, the young woman in the camp, is they took my vision and they exceeded my hopes for it. And so for that, I'm forever grateful.
And I'm interested in what it was like for you playing these parts. Can you share a little bit about what it took, what you needed to bring to the characters?
I think when I first read the script, I was just flabbergasted that there even was a story like this. Being biracial, I felt like I had never known of stories of biracial children throughout history, or even contemporarily. I don't think we get those depictions and narratives on the screen. So then to see the story of this girl who was living at this really heinous and bizarre intersection, have to navigate all these aspects of identity while still having her view of how she fits into her country, how she relates to her nation, being questioned. It was something that drew me in from the beginning, and it's something that I've continued to question since this film, since we made this film, and since the election. I think it's, I think we're all we're questioning who we are in our nation, and obviously we're not in the States right now. But that's something that was always on my mind, and so in preparation for Lena, I was thinking a lot about identity and identity in country and what it means to be a part of a country that persecutes you, which is something that I could relate to personally, being a Black person in America. But I thought really heavily about how you retain your humanity in the face of that, how you retain your strength, and what aspects of yourself do you turn to when you are faced with such persecution and discrimination.
It took for you to bring to what you brought to this character, and where did you find that?
I think for me, what I found so fascinating and compromising about Amma's script is the questions of identity. And similarly in England and in Britain around Brexit and things, where there is this, a kind of a hunger for an understanding of identity, but then also a kind of reticence to actually take responsibility for what that is. And the way in which Lutz has this, basically Lutz is built from the outside and has built himself so he understands himself so clearly, but via a regime that therefore is not actually him. He's been very irresponsible with his identity, but in a kind of very naive way and quite a pure way. And it takes a personal connection and a personal understanding to someone else to have him reevaluate that and actually question and take responsibility for who he is and whether he actually can. Because it's one thing to recognise it and it's one thing to actually follow through and take that responsibility. And that dichotomy, I think, is on a personal level always important to investigate, and then society is just a reverberation. It's just a group of individuals coming together, and so therefore if we don't question that individually, that's going to have social repercussions, which has global repercussions, which is so much what's going on now. And that's reading script made me reevaluate that personally, so that's what I wanted to explore with Lutz.
I'm usually really good at talking, but right now I feel a little speechless. It's quite an emotional film for everyone, I think. So glad that we could share it with you. To be in the current climate that we're in, and to be able to face the world like this, like kudos to us, I love you guys. I don't, to be honest, I don't really know what to say about my character. I think you saw it on screen, so I'm just going to move along and just say thanks for being here.
So we have time for a few questions from the audience. Okay. Go for it.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Before I got here, I was a little bit nervous about potentially coming and seeing a movie that overly sympathizes or sympathizes with Nazis, and I was very pleasantly surprised to see it didn't feel like that to me on a personal level. Were you
Thanks, can you tweet that, please?
I just wanted to talk about if you could talk about your process and being conscious of that and trying to show these humans doing these horrible things without being too
You know what? I didn't have to, in a way, think about it in the way that people think you might think about it, because it would have been a completely unnatural process for me to come to this in a way that was trying to sell you Nazism. That's just not who I am. So, I always, intention is everything, and I always came into this as a filmmaker who was going to do a social commentary. And there is no other side of social commentary when you're looking at what happened in Nazi Germany. The Nazis did bad things, really, really bad things, and they killed a lot of people, and there's absolutely no way in hell that you can romanticize that. So there were many elements of this movie that were really, really tough. That was not one of them. And I never questioned for a moment whether you should see people being shot like dogs on the street, as Kirsten's character says it. I never questioned for a moment whether I should bring you or bring a character into your heart and then kill her, because that's what the Nazis did. Did I question how you walk the tightrope of showing that humanity has a great propensity for good and a great propensity for evil? That's a tightrope to walk. in many ways. Did I walk the tightrope of worrying that this romantic relationship was going to be aspirational in the way that romance movies are? No, I don't think any of them will leave the cinema thinking that's the relationship I want to have on a date looks like tonight. So, which is what most supposedly romance movies do. So I never worried. I had confidence in myself as a human being, as someone from a marginalized group, as someone who sees value in all human beings, that I was never ever going to create a piece of work that was going to have you walk out of here thinking, maybe the Nazis weren't so bad after all. If anybody in here does think that, probably need a doctor.
Thank you.
One more question? Okay. Paul Cat, go ahead.
Hi, my name's Damson Idris. Love the movie. I actually just worked with Gugu as well, and she spoke highly of it.
Well, Gugu, play Belle. That always look bad.
I'm actually just intrigued to know how the environment on set was, because I was on the edge of my seat 24/7, and I really believed everyone's perspective at the time. So did you isolate the good guys from the bad guys, or how did it work?
So the question is about the dynamic and setup on the set and whether the good guys were isolated from the bad guys and so on.
I think these are just good actors. I mean, from that point of view, no, we didn't isolate anybody. We as a crew, as a production, had the opportunity to shoot in a red camp. And that was a choice we decided not to take. Because we're making a movie, regardless of how much, how impacted we are. It's by the events that really happened. We're making a movie, and we felt that very strongly that the environment of a real camp should be left to its purpose, which is to honor those people who suffered. Who died, those people who lost their lives, and so we decided to build a camp instead, which posed its own set of challenges, because we also wanted to honor the authenticity at the same time, and didn't want to dishonor that by sanitizing that in any way, or just as you do with any movie, kind of create a window that allows people to step out of the world in any way. So that was a thing that was tough. So despite the fact that we weren't in a real camp, we felt like we were in a place, or at least we were capturing a snapshot of a place where there was a lot of pain. And so every day was emotional. And where I say I think we had good actors, someone like Chris Eccleston, who sadly can't be here because he's doing Shakespeare in London, which is something he always wanted to do. Chris really understands the social context, social and political context that we live in today. He really had a brilliant grasp of what we were trying to do with this film, and he was able to have those conversations with us in between shots, in between moments, and then kind of, I think, use the importance of the commentary we were trying to give to allow himself to snap into his character and do the work he needed to do. I mean, I'm going to let George speak for himself in terms of how you did that, because I know we'd be having fairly mundane conversations, and then suddenly you'd have to snap into something pretty profound. And you found your way, so how?
Yeah, I think it's suddenly going on really boring now.
Not mundane, but mundane compared to the world that we were.
No, of course, yeah. No, I think, so I think that the vibe is a personal context between everyone, and I think that in terms of there's just the closeness that runs through all the characters, and the love that they share for each other, and kind of the care that they have in the situation of and whether they're kind of what their actions are within it. There is a kind of a a base level of care, and can I bring myself to go and help? And I think that sort of, for want of a better term, sort of spiritual understanding was always there between us, and so the practical context was a bit more kind of in and out.
Unfortunately, I think this is our time for the night, but the thing about the film that struck me was that I wanted to talk about it. And so I encourage all of you to talk about it, to tweet about it, to vote at tiff.net/vote, and I want to thank all of you again for absolutely.